The Lord descends from his transcendental abode is already explained in the sixth chapter, sixth verse. One who can understand the truth of appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage. And therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalist and the yogis attains liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve merging into the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord is only partial, and there is the risk of returning again to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body, and does not run the risk of returning again to the material world, to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many forms and incarnation. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, there is still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand this fact with conviction, although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empirical philosophers. As stated in the Vedas, Eko Deva Nitya Leela Anurakto Bhaktya Vyapi Hridayi Atmaramaha Antaramaha Antaramaha Antaratmaha Antaratmaha. The one supreme personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many transcendental forms in relationship with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculation, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can without a doubt attain liberation. The Vedic version Tattvamasi is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme and who says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead," is certainly liberated instantly. And consequently, his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion. Tam eva viditva atimritao meti nanya pantha vidyate ayanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no alternative because anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in a mode of ignorance. Consequently, he will not attain salvation, simply so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of the honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. The sense of Bhaktivedanta. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation with repetition. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, takes his birth again in this material world, but attain my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So, this verse is very interesting verse, and this verse is coming in the chapter known as transcendental knowledge. So this chapter is Jnana Yoga, is giving the knowledge, is giving the Divya Jnana. And in this whole chapter, Krishna is describing about how to attain the knowledge, how to attain the transcendental knowledge. And in the beginning itself, Krishna has explained that how this knowledge is to be achieved in disciplic succession, is to be achieved in parampara, evam parampara praptam evam rajarshayo viduhu. And in the same chapter, Krishna talks about the necessity of approaching a guru, of going to the spiritual master. Tadviti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So in this chapter, Krishna is giving some deep insights into the transcendental knowledge and the process of achieving that knowledge itself. And here he's saying, Naeti Mameti Sorjuna. So he's giving the knowledge how we can go back to him. Naeti Mameti. He attains my eternal abode. Mameti Sorjuna. He will come back to me. So in many places in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna sends this open invitation to all of us to come back to him. And at many places he says, if you do this, you will come back to me. If you do that, you will come back to me. In this way, you will come to me. In this verse, Krishna is giving the shortcut and the quickest way by which we can go back to Krishna. The quickest and the shortest and the fastest way to go back to Krishna is to evam yovete tattvataha, is to know in reality, is to know in truth, tattvataha. What we should know in tattvataha so that we can go back to Krishna, and that is the quickest way and the fastest way of going back to Krishna. Krishna saying, if you know Janma Karma Chame Divyam, if you know my birth and if you know my activities, which are Divyam. Divyam means which are transcendental. And if you know my transcendental activities and my birth in reality, in truth, then after giving up this body, you will come back to me. So, why Krishna is saying in this verse that it is so easy to go back to Krishna? It is so, just by knowing Krishna, we can go back to Krishna. Is it really easy? Or is there something else which is we need to understand before we actually understand if it's easy or not? So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that very interesting purport, very interesting statement. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. And Krishna also says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yata tam api siddhyanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. So, if yogis who have given up their material life, who are meditating in the Himalayas, the impersonalists who are trying to do a lot of effort to attain liberation, if even these yogis were to attain liberation after many births and not that easily, so how come this process Krishna is saying just by after giving up this body itself we can come back to me? Dokta deham punarjanma. He is not saying you will give up body and again you will take body, again you will give up body, again you will take up body. Now just by giving this very body we can go back to Krishna, versus the impersonalist, the yogi, have to wait for so many lifetimes of tapasya, austerity, ultimately before they ultimately achieve perfection in their spiritual life. So Actually, it is said that it is not that easy to understand Krishna's name and forms and his activities, because it is the shortest, quickest, and the fastest process of going back to Krishna. It means it is not that easy to understand Krishna. It is not that easy to understand his activities. Especially in India, everybody knows about Krishna. Everybody celebrates Janmashtami. Everybody knows Krishna's pastimes. Practically, at least in my home, there was a culture that when I was 3 year old, 4 year old, my grandmother used to teach me Krishna's pastimes. She used to tell me that now how Krishna is playing, is fighting with Kalia, how Krishna is performing rasa dance. So at least I have seen in my household that my grandmother used to tell all these stories when I was 3 year old, 4 year old. And but I never really understood the purport of these activities of Krishna before I start reading from Srila Prabhupada books. So it is said that we can have so many people in our contact list. If we, let's say, if I search my contact list, I may find almost 3,000, 4,000 people on my contact list. But how many of them would really know? How many of them would really know me in reality? How many of them will really know me as I am and my internal sphere of life? Very few of them will know. Very few of them will be my close friends, and out of them who are close friends, very few will know what is in me, what is my personality, what are my true intentions, what are my true ideas, and things like that. Very few people will know. Only one or two will know. Similarly, although we know so many people knows Krishna, and Krishna knows everyone, still we may be in the contact list of Krishna. Okay, Krishna, I know I have some contact with Krishna somewhere or other, but how many of us really closely know Krishna? Like only few of them in my 4,000 contact list, only like 0.1% people will know me as it is, my true intention, my true personality. Similarly, we may know Krishna, we may have the contact list of Krishna in our life, we may have some touch of Krishna in our life, but to be able to closely know Krishna, to closely know his activities, his birth, is very rare. Especially it is rare when you have to understand in reality. So especially in Mayavadi philosophy, in impersonalist school of thing, they always think that it is me only who's performing these pastimes. They think I am Krishna and Krishna is reflecting my nature, and I also can imitate Krishna's activities. I can also perform rasa dance. I've seen many, many impersonalists in India that in the close circles, if you were to ask from their followers, who is your Gurudev? They would say, my Gurudev is Krishna. And we also conduct a lot of rasa dance pastimes. And actually, there's a fact that these gurus dance with their own disciples, thinking them to be gopis and himself to be Krishna. So that is very misconstrued understanding of Krishna's personality and their relationship with Krishna. So if we were to talk about the Janma of Krishna, it is said Janma and Karma. Let us try to understand what is Janma of Krishna, and how does he appears itself. So many times I've seen people that they would say that my whatever I'm leading my life it is, and whatever pain, whatever challenges, whatever difficulties I am having in my life, it's because of my karma. It's because of these planets. It's because of the movement of these planets. So I'm not responsible for my pain. These planets are responsible for my pain. Because yesterday I was speaking to someone who said, I'm in too much of pain, and these grahas, this planet is ruining my life, and they are the one who is responsible for my suffering. They're blaming these planets for their own activities. But and this is just blame. So interestingly, the word blame comes from the two. If you were to bifurcate the blame, be lame, be plus lame. So you're becoming lame. If you're blaming someone, you're becoming lame. You don't have any strength, any control over on your own life, and you're blaming someone. So we blame even the demigoddesses, even the planetary systems. We are blaming them. They are responsible for my suffering. But if we understand a little more deeply, even from the astrosciences world, what happens is sometimes a person baby will not take birth till the point right time has come. Sometime baby will be stuck, will not be able to move out unless the time which will represent a particular configuration of planetary system is not matching with my karma. Because by the astroscience we can even understand whether a person who is born is male, female, what kind of complexion he would have, whether he would be fair or he would be dark, what kind of color eyes he would have, what will be the strength of his heart, how his lungs will function. So all the physical nature we can understand from astroscience. But if you were to understand, we cannot predict about anyone unless we have the time of birth of a person. But my configuration of this body have already started forming in the womb of my mother. While in the womb of mother itself, I have developed this body and I am to come out now. I have found my heart, the strength of the heart. I have found my eyes color. I have found my skin color. Everything is already been formed. So if my physical nature is already been formed in the womb of my mother as a seed and it will grow as I grow up, then how come these planets will to be responsible for my, and till that point of time I cannot even make my chart. So what happening is the karma which I have decided to burn in this lifetime, they're already there as soon as we enter into the womb of mother. And unless the karma what the other planetary system represents, it matches with your karma, you will not be able to come into this world. It will keep getting delayed. So I'm not they are not responsible for my karma. I am responsible for my own activities. And and unless these situation happens, I will not be able to come out. And now you may wonder, why am I talking about all of this? There's a reason why I'm talking about all of this, because when Krishna appeared in this world, Krishna did not appear under the influence of planets. Rather, it is said that when he appeared, all the planetary system took up the highest position in the sky because of his birth. So he is not getting influenced by the planetary positions, but the planetary positions are getting influenced by his appearance. So that is how we can understand his birth is not the birth the way we take the birth. We take the birth because of our karma, and our karma, unless it resonates with the outside planetary configuration, we will not be able to come out. But Krishna, it is Krishna who decide, now I'm going to take birth, and the planetary system itself take their exalted positions to welcome Krishna. And it is said that although it was the 8th day of the, and it is given in Bhagavatam, the moon appears like as it is like a full moon. So how come the moon appeared to be full moon, although it was the 8th day of the waning moon? It is not something ordinary. And Prabhupada describes that because Krishna was appearing in the Chandra dynasty, in the dynasty of moon god, that is why the moon god became so jubilant, so happy that he appeared to be a full moon. It was an extraordinary occurrence for the moon as such. And so when Krishna appeared, all the things started becoming peaceful, quietened. And before that, because of Kamsa's influence, nobody was able, especially Brahmanas were not able to perform their yagnas. Everything was very disturbed. So as soon as Krishna was to appear, everything started becoming more peaceful, more quiet, and the Brahmanas were having a peaceful mind so that they could focus on their Brahmanical activities. So that is how the Krishna appearance is completely different how I take birth. In that way, what we can understand is Krishna says Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of all the planets. So this shows when Krishna comes in this material world, all the planets get their exalted positions. They acquire their exalted positions because of fear of Krishna, just to welcome Krishna. His master is coming. All the planetary systems master is coming, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That is why they became so jubilant. So that is a clear distinction between my Janma and Krishna's Janma, the basic foundation itself. If we were to go more into the depth of Krishna's birth, how he appeared, he did not appear in the womb of Devaki directly with the help of a semen in the in the in the and it and impregnated in the womb of Devaki. Krishna first appeared in the heart of Vasudev. And from the heart of Vasudev, Krishna transferred himself to the heart of Devaki. And when Krishna appeared, he appeared from the heart of Devaki. When Krishna appeared from the heart of Devaki, he did not appear like a two-hand child form, born naked, without any clothes, without anything on his body. Krishna appeared in his four-handed form, decorated as Vishnu, with the yellow garments and all the jewels and everything. So that is not a how a child takes birth. Ordinary child takes birth. Krishna took the form of four-handed baby form in the form of Vishnu, and then on the request of Mother Devaki and Vasudev, he appeared as two-handed baby form of Krishna. And also, he appeared in a Vasudev state, because when Vasudev was in a pure state of mind, that's why Krishna appeared in his heart. It is said the basic requirement for Krishna to appear in our heart or to appear in our life is only when we achieve this Vasudeva state. And Vasudeva state is completely transcendental state. So when if you see, when a mother gives birth to a child, the mother is completely in mode of ignorance. Completely in mode of ignorance. Unconscious, and too much of pain and too much of difficulty and too much of challenges when a baby is taking birth. So a baby, when we take birth in a mode under the influence of mode of ignorance. And if Krishna has to take birth, if Krishna has to appear, he takes birth in, or he appears in the highest transcendental state, not in a tamoguna state. So again, it also clearly demarcates the difference between my birth and Krishna's birth. When I take birth and when Krishna appears, he appears in the highest state of Vasudeva state, highest state of transcendental state, which is beyond even Sattva-guna, Vishuddha Sattva state. And we take birth in the Tamoguna, Tamasic state. So also, if we have to bear Krishna in our heart, if we have to bring Krishna in our life, that is the state which is the most conducive state for us to have Krishna in our life. So moving forward, when Krishna appeared in this planet, he performed many activities. Okay, that is how Krishna took birth. That is a part of Janma. And Krishna also says Janma Karma. It is not only Janma, but also Krishna's activity. Understanding of Krishna's activity will help me understanding or will help me going back to Krishna. So if you were to see his activities, why did Krishna appear in this world? There are many reasons why Krishna appeared in this world. There are many externals and many internals, many superficial and many more confidential reasons why Krishna appeared in this world. And the very famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Paritanaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That Krishna comes in every day of Brahma to save the sadhus and to annihilate the miscreants. And Prabhupada says in that purport, Krishna can kill all these demons simply by his will. He does not have to appear personally. But Krishna appears only to give protection to his devotees. That is his primary objective. And if we were to go even more into the depth that why does Krishna appears, Krishna appears to attract all the living entity of this material world and take them back to himself, take them back to his own abode. So when Krishna comes to this world, he shows that he is ready to steal pure devotion of his devotees. And that is why he is also known as Makancho, the butter thief, Krishna. And he is celebrated as a butter thief. If you were to understand why Krishna used to steal butter, was there a dearth of butter in his house? Was there a less butter at his what Mother Yashoda was churning that he has to go to other gopis' house and to steal butter? No. If you see the mood of these gopis, the elderly gopis who used to churn butter, they always used to think of Krishna. And they always used to think if Krishna were to take this butter, because they were pure devotees of Krishna, always thinking of Krishna while churning butter, and they were desiring that we want to serve Krishna with this butter. But they would not go explicitly to Krishna and to say and to serve this butter. So Krishna understood their desire that these gopis are churning these butters in a mood of pure devotional service and they want to serve me. So Krishna went by himself and started stealing that butter. But if you see, although Krishna was stealing butter, but also Krishna was stealing all the gopis' pure devotional service or the pure devotional mood, that love of gopis, elderly gopis. So he came to this world to show that he's so much eagerly waiting for each one of our pure devotional service. He's so much eagerly waiting when will this living entity turn towards me and I will take him back to Krishna. I will take him back to my own abode. If even interestingly, even why he appears as Paramatma, he can perform all the functions of Paramatma just being at his own abode. Whatever function Paramatma does in a way of controlling this material world, giving me intelligence, giving me remembrance, giving me knowledge. He can perform all these functions even not being personally present also. He can do that. But why does he sit with me in my heart and not abandon me? Because he's waiting, when will this living entity develop a desire to come back to me and to restart and to reestablish his lost relationship with me. I'm just waiting for that moment. As soon as I would sense a desire in a living entity, immediately I will facilitate him by connecting him to his spiritual master. It is only for this reason, and Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, that never feel that I am lost from you and you are lost from me. So Krishna, we may feel lost, that we as a living entity are lost in this huge whirlpool of material world. But Krishna has made sure that we are not lost. He's always with us. So that is his deep love, that is his deep desire, that is his deep intention for us to get reconnected to him. And that is a primary reason why he's sitting even in our heart as Paramatma. He's just waiting upon us. Then when that day would come, when he would turn toward me and I will take him back to myself, back to my own abode. And that is a service which Paramatma is rendering to Krishna. In that way, Ekala Krishna, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabhritya. that Krishna alone is the master. And all other, even incarnations of Krishna, starting from Balram, serve Krishna. So Balram is a servant of Krishna in that way. Other incarnations of Krishna are actually serving Krishna in a different capacity. Even Paramatma is serving Krishna. And Paramatma is serving Krishna in a capacity, how Paramatma can guide us, how Paramatma can give us intelligence, how Paramatma can give us direction so that we can go back to Krishna. And his spiritual masters becomes the representative of Paramatma for us. Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. Anyways, coming back to this point, that how Krishna is ready to steal, he's not stealing the butter alone, he's stealing the pure devotional service of the pure devotees. So he's showing us that how much eagerly he's waiting for us to give our devotion to him. He has come to show us that how much he wants us. He has come to show us how much he wants our devotion. Because each and every living entity has a specific, in a very specific way, in a very unique way, can give pleasure to Krishna. Nobody else in this whole creation can fulfill the gap the way I can, as an individual soul, can fulfill in Krishna's life. You can fulfill in Krishna's life. I cannot give pleasure to Krishna what you can give pleasure to Krishna, and you cannot give pleasure to Krishna what I can uniquely, as a unique soul, can give to Krishna. And that is what is Krishna looking for. So he has come to show that he is ready to steal our devotion. We just have to have that desire. Sometimes we may think, how Krishna will accept my devotion? Krishna is far off in the Golok Vrindavan and I am sitting here. How would Krishna accept my devotion? Krishna is just waiting. As soon as you have some sort of a devotional mood, he has already accepted it. Even though we have a thinking of serving Krishna, he has accepted that mood. We have a little bit of loving feeling towards Krishna, he has accepted it. Where would we find such a lover that simply by thinking that I want to serve Krishna, simply by having little bit of devotional feeling towards Krishna, he is accepting it? In this world, we have to show action. Even in Krishna devotion, we have to show action. But he has accepted it as a lover. But in this world, no lover will accept, oh, you're thinking to love me, so I will accept it. No, he will demand, where is your sacrifice? Where are you showing your love? We also have to show love to Krishna, but still, he's accepting from the very basic foundation itself of thinking to love Krishna. And he will inspiring us to go one step ahead and to go more forward and to start serving Krishna in a more loving way. So the example of the beautiful story of Sudama, that Sudama came to Krishna as his friend, and his wife told, okay, you're going to meet the most opulent friend, Dwarkadish. He's a Adhyaksh, he's a king of Dwarka. And you're going to meet him, you should take something with yourself. And Sudama, the old, poor friend of Krishna, thought, what should I take? He said, you can take at least some chipped rice. So the Sudama's wife gives some chipped rice to Sudama to be handed over to Krishna. And when Sudama came to meet Krishna, and when Krishna asked, what did you bring for me? Then Sudama was very hesitant. He said that, how can I show to Krishna what I have brought for him? Then what did he say? No, you have bought something for me. And Krishna could see that he's hiding something. Sudama is hiding that small wrapped chipped rice. He snatched it from Sudama and he eats it. So even those chipped rice, because the heart of Sudama was filled with love, the heart of Sudama was filled with devotional mood towards Krishna. So in that devotional mood, Krishna did not leave to 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 to, to even eat that chipped rice, what nobody would eat anyways. And he took once, he took even twice. When he started taking thrice, snatching from Sudama, Rukmani holded his hand. And Rukmani said, no, you cannot eat further. With 2 bites itself, he would be, you have accepted something from Sudama, and now he will be getting millions and millions and so much of opulence in his lifetime because of your reciprocation. But if you take once more, then you will be so indebted to Sudama that I myself will have to go and reside at the house of Sudama. Rukmani said, no, I don't want to leave you, so please don't eat anymore. This shows that Krishna is ready to give the highest reward, the smallest of service. What was chipped rice? Small chipped rice, right? And what did Sudama get back? The whole opulence of his own palace. When he comes back to the house, when he come back to his own place, he saw that overnight a palace was being built, and there were so many servants serving like a king, and he became like a king overnight, just with 2 handful of chipped rice. And Rukmani said, don't take third one, otherwise I cannot pay his debt. I will only have to go and reside at the house of Sudama. You can just imagine that how much can Krishna reward us if, and it is another very, we were reading the different qualities of Krishna. One of the quality of Krishna is he's grateful, and he's supremely grateful. And we were just discussing that how sometimes we say, oh, we have to develop gratefulness, and developing gratefulness seems to be like a very big quality to all of us. Oh, we have to develop gratefulness, we have to say, get grateful affirmation, we have to be conscious that we are becoming grateful. But if you see, the gratefulness itself is rooted in appreciation. If we appreciate somebody, means you are becoming grateful and appreciating what that person has done to us. If we recognize what somebody else have done to us, it is, I am simply being honest. If I am being honest, I will recognize what you have done for me. And if I recognize what you have done for me, I will appreciate you. And when I appreciate you, I will become grateful. The gratefulness actually is rooted in the honesty. So it's a very simple, basic moral instruction that we should be honest. And if we are honest, then we should be grateful. And being Krishna, being the supreme honest personality of Godhead, that's what Prabhupada says, is a supreme honest personality. He's supremely honest. If he is supremely honest, then he's grateful. He's supremely grateful. And he says, Prabhupada says in that description, that when Draupadi was chanting Krishna's name, Hey Govinda, when she was being disrobed in the assembly, Asasabhaya, in that assembly of all those demonic kind of personalities, in Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, all these Kauravas, at that point of time, Draupadi was calling Krishna's name with so much of feelings, so much of devotion, so much of heart. And Krishna was thinking in his heart, this Draupadi is calling me with so much of devotion, and Krishna was thinking, this debt on my heart kept on increasing more and more and more and more and more. Because Draupadi was calling my name, I was becoming indebted to Draupadi, and I couldn't stop myself just to go there and protect Draupadi. And I myself became that sari, supremely big sari, and she couldn't be disrobed any further. So the helpless chanting of Draupadi made Krishna feel indebted. So the service, whatever service living entity gives to Krishna, Krishna feels about it. Krishna becomes grateful about it, and he rewards us accordingly. And it is said, when we give something to Krishna, we can give something according to our capabilities. And what is our capability? We are minuscule, we are minute living entities. So whatever we can offer to Krishna, we can just offer in a very minute quantity. Even love, we can offer very minute. Our actions, we can offer very minute. Our chesta we can offer very minute. Our endeavor we can offer in a very minute scale. So, but when Krishna would give according to his capacity. And what is his capacity? Infinite. Even if Krishna were to reciprocate with my minute and endeavor, my minute feelings of love towards him, he would just flood me with love back. He would just flood me with devotion. He would just flood me with rewards. According to him, it is a small thing what he has given. But for me, it would like a tsunami of gifts, a flood of love. So when we give love to Krishna, what we would get return is something which we cannot even visualize. We just be drowning in that love of ocean of Krishna. So that is how he came to this earth to show us that he is ready to give us the highest reward simply by smallest of sacrifice. He came to this world to show to us that he is ready to accept any living entity. What does he, when the 16,100 queens were stolen, were kidnapped by Narakasura, and when Krishna went to this Narakasura, Krishna killed Narakasura, another pastime in Krishna's pastimes. He rescued all these 16,100 gopis, and these, when Krishna rescued these 16,100 gopis, and these queens told, we cannot go back to our houses because our parents will not accept us. That used to be Vedic culture, that if a girl has stayed overnight outside house being unmarried, she becomes unacceptable. That used to be a Vedic culture earlier times. So they said that we cannot be accepted by our parents anymore. What did Krishna say? I will accept all of you. So Krishna has come to show that what is unacceptable by anyone, he's ready to accept us. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Striya Vaishya Tata Shudra Deep Janti Param Gati. According to Vedic cultures, Shudras, Striya, and Vaishya are not to be accepted for the highest of perfection. But Krishna says, everybody is acceptable by me. I will accept the devotion of women, accept the devotion of Shudras, accept the devotion of Vaishyas. I am here to accept everyone's devotion if they are ready to give me. So what he has come to show, he has come to show unconditional acceptance to each one of us. Even though we don't have any right to go back to Krishna anymore, because we have given up that position. We have discarded, okay, I don't want you, Krishna, any further. And we came to this material world. So technically, we don't have any right to go back to Krishna. We cannot demand, okay, take me back, because you only came. Once you came, you have given up your rights. Then you cannot demand to go back to Krishna, to go back to your own abode. Like if I sign some property to someone, I don't want this property, I'm signing off to you. I cannot demand it back. So my property that I was to live in the spiritual world with Krishna, I've resigned, I've given it up, and I came to this material world. And now if I have to go back to him, then Krishna has to accept us. Unless he accepts, we cannot go back to him. So even though we want to go back to Krishna, if Krishna does not accept us, we cannot go. And his acceptance is so huge that even though we don't want to go back to Krishna, he himself come to give us this open invitation. Please come to me. I want to reestablish a relationship with you. In the each and every verse of the Bhagavad Gita, it is Krishna who is urging us, please come to me. I want you. In different ways and means, Krishna is trying to convince us. If not this way, that way. If not that way, this way. If you study the Bhakti Yoga 12th chapter, if you cannot do this, do that. If you cannot do that, do this. Something you start doing. If you cannot perform pure devotion service, start performing regulative devotion service. If you cannot practice regulative devotion service, work for me. If you cannot work for me, sacrifice the result for me. If you cannot sacrifice the result, at least do this. What is Krishna trying to say there? At least start from somewhere. I'm ready to accept whatever you're ready to give me. So what Krishna came to show us? Krishna came to show us unconditional acceptance. Because everybody in this world will want something from us. If you are not able to give you something, then you will judge me. Okay, this person is not able to give me, so he's a bad person. He's a greedy person. He's a cunning person. If I'm not able to give something to someone, they will judge me and they will reject me. But Krishna, even though I'm not able to give something to Krishna, and whatever I'm able to give to Krishna, then Krishna will accept me as I am, and will, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I will provide whatever my devotee lack, yogakshema vahamyam, I will protect whatever my devotee has. So if we try to become devotee of Krishna, then instead of judging you, oh, you don't have this, and reject you, he will accept you and he will give you whatever you need and he will make you feel complete. So that is why Krishna came. Krishna came to show that how much he is eager to still our devotion, pure devotion. Krishna came to show that he can give the highest reward for our smallest of service. Krishna came to express his unconditional love for us. And Krishna came to just invite us and to show that he wants us. That is a real uh, meaning of Krishna's app. That is the most fundamental reason, or the most closest, the most confidential reason why Krishna came. Krishna came to exhibit his pastimes so that we can get attracted to these pastimes. And when we get attracted to these pastimes, then we develop a desire to go back to him. So Krishna came to ignite that desire in us. Krishna came to to infuse that inspiration that we develop that desire to go back to him. And it is only because of desire we came to this world, and it is only because of desire we can go back to him. So Krishna came, took all the pain, not really pain, but he came to this world. He's coming again and again to this world just to help me developing desire to have him. And that is what Srila Prabhupada teaching, Srila Prabhupada words, Srila Prabhupada pastimes, and Srila Prabhupada Krishna book gives us, that to help us developing that desire. So if we are able to develop desire by ourselves, and if we are able to help someone else developing the same desire to have Krishna in their lives, that is the highest service we can give to Krishna. So with this, we'll just conclude, and I would just leave it for comment. If anybody have any questions, any realizations, any comment, anything anybody would like to add, we just open a discussion for that.
Hare Krishna Nitya Gopal Prabhu. I'm very moved by your class. I got, yeah, it's all, the Vedas or any true spiritual literature meets us where we're at, encourages us to grow. And I like how you personalize that. That's Krishna saying, like, complete acceptance, wherever you're at, just to show some spark. And you mentioned 12th chapter of Bhagavad, if you can't do this, and even at some point Krishna says, yeah, and even if you're not ready to do anything spiritual, just serve something bigger than yourself. Serve your country, serve your community. You get some idea of serving something bigger. And yeah, thanks for that. And I appreciated you referenced really Krishna's appearance. Started with in the heart and the mind of Vasudeva, and then it's a beautiful verse and purport there in the 10th canto. Vasudeva transferred Krishna to the womb to Devaki, and Prabhupada makes it clear that that's diksha, that's initiation. That Vasudeva initiated Devaki. He gave her Krishna, Divyagan Ride Pokashito. So to give that transcendental knowledge that destroys all sin. And the quintessential example of that is Vasudeva transferring Krishna from his own heart to Devaki's heart. And Prabhupada, that's the essence of initiation. You mentioned about Krishna protects his devotees. If you'd like to say more, I'd like to understand more. What's it mean Krishna protects his devotees? Because, well, we see that whether, yes, and yeah, we see whether whether someone gives their life to serve Krishna or gives their life to materialism. Everyone's gonna, the body dies, and everyone's going to experience disturbances. So what's that mean, Krishna protects his devotees?
Yeah, so it's very interesting to understand that how Krishna protects his devotees. So when we hear Krishna's statement that Krishna protects his devotees, we think Krishna will protect me. Okay. So now if I think I'm this body, then person will think, oh, Krishna will protect my body. He will not let me die. If a person thinks, oh, I am my emotions, I am my mind, then we interpret, oh, Krishna will protect my emotions, Krishna will not let me feel bad. If I think I am this ego, then we interpret when Krishna says, oh, Krishna will protect my ego. Krishna will never let me down. Or Krishna will always make me hero of the world. But Krishna is not looking at me as my body. Krishna is not looking at me as my mind. Krishna is not looking at me as my ego. Krishna is looking at me as his part and parcel, as a spiritual being. When Krishna is saying, I will protect you, Krishna is not saying, I will protect you. Krishna will protect body also, but Krishna is not necessarily saying, I will protect your body. I will protect you as a spiritual being. I will not let you degrade. I will bring you back to myself. And whatever is required for you to serve me and to protect your spiritual life, I will protect that as well. So what essentially, if we were to understand, what essentially Krishna is promising to protect, Krishna is promising to protect my spiritual self and my spiritual life. If sometime it's required for Krishna to protect your body, because it is going to help you protecting your spiritual life, he will protect your body also. And if sometime it's required for you to develop your spiritual life, at Krishna may protect even your emotions, even your ego, even your confidence. But again, at different point of time in my growth, I may need some protection from my body because I am not really highly elevated as a spiritual being. So that might disturb my spiritual life. So Krishna may tend to protect my body also. But let's say if I advance more, and at that point of time, it really doesn't bother me if Krishna protect my body or not. And sometimes it may help me growing spiritually if something happened to the body. Krishna sometimes may allow that. Sometimes Krishna's protection will, oh, he's not protecting me, he's giving more and more misery, even though I'm trying to serve him so much. Like in the case of Bilva Mangala Thakura, he plugged out his eyes. Why did not Krishna protected him and asked him not to plug his eyes? Because he knew if you plug his eyes, then he can completely 100% focus on me. He's good for his spiritual life. So he allowed. So protection of Krishna's self means protection of Krishna's. For example, Krishna protected Draupadi. So Krishna protected Draupadi for multiple reasons. One reason is to show that he will always protect you, no matter how much dangerous your situation is. So if Krishna were not to protect there, and she's chanting Krishna's name with pure heart, with pure devotion, Krishna is protecting, then we may question Krishna's protection. But he also made sure that Draupadi comes to a point wherein she is completely surrendered to Krishna. And when she raised both the hands, at that point of time, Krishna came. Before that, she was trying to hold a sari by herself and calling Krishna, and then she hold the sari with one hand and then calling Krishna. Till then, Krishna did not come. So Krishna's protection also, he require complete surrender. To the degree we surrender, to that degree he gives protection. If we are not ready to completely surrender to Krishna, then he will not protect us completely, because we still want material life. And for me to Krishna, and you want to protect material life completely, and then Krishna will say, okay, fine, you want to protect material life, protect material life, I will also help you in that in some way or other. But that is not what really Krishna's protection means. So that is my understanding, that sometimes Krishna may allow devotees to go through pain, challenges, difficulties, hurt, injuries, accidents, any of these possible, yes. But still, he's protecting the devotee's spirit. He's protecting that he's moving to the next level of Krishna consciousness. That is what my understanding says that protection really means.
Hare Krishna, I appreciate your realizations. Thank you.
So, any other devotees and have any other comments? Any other? I think Patrick Parampara Prabhu had one comment here. So I would just encourage Parampara Prabhu, if he would like to share more his realizations on the pastimes of Sudama, because we can gain something out of it, some realization of values of endeavoring to reciprocate with Krishna. So I would conclude from my side. Thank you very much, all the devotees, for being there, for being present, for giving your all reception. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.